We'll check in with the men of the midday in a moment. First, we head to the hotline to bring in the All-American cultural icon and a gentleman who is on the entry list for the WinStar World Casino 350 Friday night at Texas Motor Speedway. Rick Crawford is in the house, and the green flag flies over the Rick Crawford Show for this Tuesday, November 1st, 2011. Top of the morning, Rick.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Pete. How are y'all today?
Rick, we're great, and, well, it sounds like you got the driver's suit out of the cleaners, huh, to take to Texas with you.
Yeah, it was still in the bag. So, yeah, I'm getting excited about driving for Taxby racing again. Mike Cheek's been out there for a couple of weeks working on the truck, and we'll get it there by Trans-Pecos Towing and see how she does this weekend. So I'm looking forward to it. Texas is one of my all-time favorite places to go and favorite racetracks, and it's just going to be exciting. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, before we get to Texas, and we'll look forward to seeing you back on track, let's rewind to Martinsville over the weekend. Lots of action. Take your pick. Let's start with Saturday's Truck Series race, a battle royale that didn't end when the checkered flag flew.
Man, you just said what I wanted to say. I mean, last week was tore up Tuesday. Today is just wild. I mean, I've never seen so many trucks tore up after a race, and I think we need to put some drivers in a cage, put them in the cage, make them fight in the cage. But I tell you what, it would be different if they had to pay for this equipment, to be fixed. And I just hate to see that. I really do. I hate to see it. I think if they all looked, in the mirror on Sunday, that they all of them, and I know they're professional race car drivers, and I was in that fraternity, and it's like they all wish they could probably reel that one back in. That wasn't a real good day. They just had a bad day, and a lot of them's going to say that and put it behind them and all that kind of stuff. But in this day and time, that was just a hard race to watch. I mean, it was sort of ugly at times, and it's just like what I said, and I'm going to say it about the Cup race. The guy who wins the race is going to have minor damage to his car, and his car is going to look very clean. And that just shows sometimes the talent of who's going to win the race and who's running good.
How do you get to a point, and I'm talking about Todd Bodine and Max Pappas, but how do you get to a point where you start sparring on pit road and then you dump your teammate when you get back out onto the racetrack? I mean, how do you get to that point to where, we talk a lot about team orders, and we did at Talladega, but that's the whole team thing going right out the window in my mind. How do you get there?
It really did. I mean, I don't think there's a mean bone in Max Pappas's body, and he's always been a friend of mine. We've always talked. I've always tried to help him out, trying to make the transition from sports cars to oval NASCAR racing, and he's done a great job, and I just think something snapped Saturday, and I think a lot of frustration was in Todd Bodine, and it just came to it got to where it didn't matter if he was a teammate or the same guy was paying the bills for both trucks or anything. I just think something snapped, and he was trying to teach somebody a lesson, and it was just, I mean, if Rick Crawford was in that situation, I mean, and I had to think of friendship, I had to think of teammate, I had to think of guys in the shop all work under the same roof. I mean, I'd probably just take it off to the side and say, hey, next time we come here, next time we come to a short track or something like that, we need to work this out. But a lot of it is frustration. But the next thing is maybe the driver, maybe Max didn't know it. Maybe Max didn't know how bad it really was. Maybe he wasn't watching it on television, or he wasn't sitting in Todd Bodine's seat. So anything can happen like that. But I just seen a driver snap, and he snapped at the end of the race, and because he got shoved around a little bit, he got bullied a little bit all day, and it's like, oh my goodness, we just let it go out of control.
Well, I was also surprised at some of the participants in terms of their plans for next year. If I'm Todd Bodine, if I'm Brendan Gaughan, if I'm Brian Vickers, and I'm not really locked into a plan for 2012, Rick, I'm not so sure that's the behavior that I would demonstrate to a potential new car owner.
I'm glad I got the suit in the bag this week, but no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I tell you what, I'm really tickled what I do. I'm really having a good time with life, and y'all all know what I've been doing this year and things like that. And my career in the Truck Series has been great. I think I represented sponsors very well, and I think I represented NASCAR very well on and off the racetrack. But I tell you what, Martinsville. Just take Martinsville, and I won back there. My first win was back there in a short track race back in 1995 on Saturday before the Sunday Cup race, and it's a place to where you hate to go hand out job applications at. It's a place that you hate to go look for a sponsor. I mean, they're all there. They're all sitting in the pits. All the owners is there. They all within the fence, but you've got to realize you've got to use your talent that you've earned all these years on these short tracks and things, and you've got to go there and just do your best. And wherever it falls, but you can't. I can't put it no different. You can't show your ass, and so that's just what I saw on Saturday and Sunday. And it's hard to look for a job. Like I say, it's hard to look for a job in Martinsville because anything can happen. There's always, and there has been, and I see it. It's getting shorter. The fuses are getting shorter on this dynamite. And like I say, it don't take much for a driver to snap anymore.
Yeah. At the end of the day on Sunday, Tony Stewart goes to victory lane. Third time in the chase, Rick. And, boy, for a guy that told us in August he wasn't going to be part of the championship, he's really turned this around. I think it's going to be a great battle here, but I have to say I didn't think Smoke would be part of this when we started this deal until he won those first two races.
Well, I'm a guy that never counted him out. I mean, I was looking at the top 12 when we got in this chase, and I think they all had a chance. I think they all were great race teams, and I think they all had a chance. Some was going to shine at different places, but I mean, Smoke came out of the box. I mean, he was on fire, and so he got some insurance right off the bat. Then he had a couple of bad races, and all of a sudden now he's back winning again. Like he says, Carl Edwards is not going to have too much sleep in the next couple of weeks, and so. It's going to be a points battle all the way down to the end. I have to hand it to Carl, though. Carl was points racing at Martinsville, and he was very, very smart. He was very sharp about it, and he knew what he had to do. He didn't have the best finish he was looking for, but he had a good enough finish to keep the point lead. Now he can go turn it all loose at Texas. Everybody knows you can let it all hang out there for 500 miles. You got the trucks on Friday night, the Nationwide on Saturday, the Cup Series on Sunday. It's a full event weekend in Texas, and everything's bigger and better in Texas. So, looking forward to a great weekend out there.
I'm interested to get your assessment of Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards. If you lay those two drivers side by side and analyze not necessarily their social skills or how they interact with fans or their personalities off the track, what are the differences, in your opinion, about their personalities on the track and the way they race their competitors?
Well, off the track, I think one speaks his mind, one spends a lot of money, one has a good time and does. He just has a great time as a race car driver and does things way outside the box. You're talking about the other one. I think he's a cheapskate. I think he's probably got the first nickel he ever earned in racing, driving for Jack Roush. And it's like, at the same time, Carl has evolved in a big spokesperson for sponsors. He's been on shows as an actor, and I was just kidding about he got the first nickel he ever earned because I raced against Carl for quite a while. And I mean, when he was sleeping on somebody's couch in an apartment in Mooresville, I mean, he didn't have anything in his refrigerator because he was too cheap to go buy something. But anyway, I just got off track there. Anyway, getting back on the racetrack, you got two different people now, but you got two very talented race car drivers. Mm-hmm. One's been in the sport a little longer than the other one, but at the same time, they've both taken to these teams as if they're their own. And I realized that Carl drives for Jack Roush, and they put all their contracts and all that stuff behind them. And I realized Tony Stewart went out on the limb with Stuart Haas, but at the same time, they're both proud of their organizations and where they come from. They're both proud of their sponsors. And when they get on the racetrack, they're going to represent them as well as they can. The bottom line is they both like winning, and they both want this championship, and that's why I'm saying. But at the same time, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. You got Harvick sitting back there. I mean, you got Keselowski sitting back there. They got spun out. You could see it in his face at the end of the race. He had a pretty good finish going. All of a sudden, he got knocked back about 10 spots. And it's like, he's really focused. You can look at these drivers' eyes walking through the garage area. They're focused on this championship. They want to do the best they can, and it ain't over till it gets to Homestead.
Size up Texas Motor Speedway for us, Rick. You'll be in action on Friday night with the trucks. We'll have the Nationwide Series on Saturday and then the Sprint Cup Series Sunday. give us the overview of that racetrack. Another mile and a half, but I know it's got its own characteristics.
Hammer down. I raced out there in the beginning when they built Texas Motor Speedway. I think the trucks was the first series to go out there to really give NASCAR a prominent place at Texas Motor Speedway. They moved it around a little bit. They moved the front straightaway wall out. They give you some room to race. It is a great speedway, great place to go as a fan, and a great place to go as a really fast vehicle. I mean, it don't matter if you got a truck, nationwide car, or cup car. It's got to be fast. And it's got to have the right downforce. It's got to have the right engine on the hood. The crew's got to do their job in the pits, and the driver's got to do his job on the racetrack. But I'm going to tell you, as a driver, it's fun. Especially if you got something fast. It's really fun, and you can get around that place. A lot of different lanes, a lot of different grooves, and but it's a racetrack, great facility to go visit.
A lot of drivers say you feel the sensation of speed at Texas more than any other track in NASCAR. Why is that?
I don't know. I felt a lot of speed at Bristol when you wrecked, but it just don't take long to make a lap. Let me tell you, to be on a 1.5 mile speedway at 190 miles an hour, 180 miles an hour, it just don't take long to get back to where you started. And I think that the sensation of speed is there because you got flat straightaways, and all of a sudden you go to this big wall of a bank going in the corners, the track grabs you, and it sends you off back down. You ain't got time to really think about, well, did I miss that corner? Did I miss that groove? Did I not do this? Did I not do that? You ain't got time for that at Texas. You might try something a little different at the next lap or something like that, or adjust your line just a little bit, but you better be paying attention to what's coming up in front of you because it'll get there in a hurry.
Well, it's a triple header. We're looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to seeing you back on the racetrack. You guys qualify on Thursday night, and you race on Friday. Rick, we wish you the best of luck this weekend.
I appreciate that, Mike, Pete. Thank you very much. I'd like to say thoughts and prayers go out this week to Russ Wallace and the family. I had a good friend back in Springfield, Missouri, Rich Lever, who passed away a few months ago. And he used to tell me stories about Russ, Larry Phillips, David Goldsberry, and Missouri had a group of racers. When they went to a big event, you had a race on your hands. And I'd just like to, Mike, Kenny, Rusty, all good friends of mine, and just like to have thoughts and prayers out for them this week.
Absolutely. We echo that as well. Rick, we'll look forward to seeing you Friday at Texas Motor Speedway.
Hey, look forward to it, guys, and I'll see you next Tuesday on the air.
All right, Rick, thank you.
That's Rick Crawford. The checkered flag in the air. The Rick Crawford Show is over for this Tuesday, November 1st, 2011. And as you mentioned, Rick has pulled the driver's suit out of the dry cleaners. Look at him go.
Yeah, good to see him back behind the wheel. As I say, the trucks will qualify on Thursday night, and we'll see what happens if he can get a good starting spot for Sunday night's Truck Series race, which you'll hear right here on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, courtesy of the Motor Racing Network, with our very own Bagman anchoring the broadcast from the booth. Look at him go.
Bagman Dan Hubbard topside and the rest of the MRN crew kicking off a triple header weekend. The NASCAR Nationwide Series running Saturday, the NASCAR Spring Cup Series running Sunday. All races can be heard right here